In Rita Jones and the Devil's Bargain. It was a humid night in the little town of Bayou Bend, where the moon hung low, and the stars winked like they had secrets to share. Auntie May's rocking chair creaked as she began her story. Now listen up, young ones and grown folks alike, 'cause this ain't no ordinary tale. It's about Henrietta Jones, the bravest, cleverest woman you ever heard of. She didn't have riches, she didn't have no army, but she had a mind sharper than a gator's tooth and a heart big enough to carry the weight of the world. The children sat wide-eyed, and even the adults leaned in closer, not wanting to miss a word. Henrietta was born with a crescent moon-shaped birthmark on her left palm, which the old folks said meant she was touched by destiny. Now, this wasn't no easy life she had. Her mama and daddy were sharecroppers, working sunup to sundown on land that wasn't theirs. Henrietta, being the youngest of five, was always asking questions, always wondering why things had to be the way they were. One day, when she was about 12 years old, her mama told her, "Henrietta, you gotta learn to keep your head down and just survive." But Henrietta shook her head and said, "Mama, surviving ain't living. One day, I'm gonna make life better for all of us." That day came sooner than anyone expected. Auntie May paused, letting the weight of her words settle over the crowd. Then she leaned in and dropped her voice to a whisper. It all started when the devil himself came sniffing around Bayou Bend. The first encounter. Henrietta was just 18 when the devil came calling. It was late at night, and the cicadas had gone quiet, a bad sign, folks said. Henrietta was out by the river, washing clothes by moonlight because the family needed clean linens for Sunday. She was humming a tune when she felt a chill run down her spine. "Henrietta Jones," came a voice smooth as silk and twice as dangerous. Henrietta turned and saw a tall man dressed in a fine black suit, his eyes glowing like embers. She didn't need no introduction. Her granny had warned her about folks like him. "You must be the devil," she said, standing tall. The man tipped his hat and grinned. "Smart girl. Now, I hear you've been wishing for a better life. I'm here to make that happen." Henrietta crossed her arms. "And what's the price?" "Oh, just a small thing," he said, his grin widening. "Your soul." The crowd on Auntie May's porch gasped. The storytellers smiled, knowing she had them hooked. The first trick. Henrietta didn't flinch. She knew the devil's game, and she wasn't about to play fair. "All right," she said, "but you gotta prove you're as powerful as you claim. If you can't do what I ask, you leave me and my family alone forever." The devil's eyes narrowed, but he nodded. "Name your challenge." Henrietta pointed to the river. "I want you to catch every fish in that water and put them in my bucket without spilling a drop."
The devil laughed. "Is that all? Child's play." He snapped his fingers, and the river began to churn. Fish of all sizes leapt into the air, diving straight into Henrietta's bucket. But Henrietta wasn't done. "Oh, I forgot to mention," she said with a sly smile. "You gotta do it without getting the water muddy." The devil stopped laughing. No matter how careful he was, the water turned muddy with every fish he caught. He growled in frustration, and after hours of trying, he finally gave up. "Fine," he spat. "You win this time. But I'll be back. Dash dash dash." The second bargain. The devil didn't stay gone long. 2 weeks later, he found Henrietta picking cotton in the field. "Henrietta Jones," he called, "I'm here to offer you another deal." Henrietta didn't look up. "I already told you, I don't trust you. But don't you want to see your family free from this back-breaking work? Don't you want a life of comfort and ease?" Henrietta paused. "What's the catch?" "No catch," he lied. "Just another little challenge. If you win, I'll grant you wealth and freedom. If you lose, your soul is mine." Henrietta thought for a moment. She didn't trust him, but she couldn't pass up the chance to make things better. "All right," she said, "but this time, I get to pick the game." The devil grinned. "Name it." Henrietta pointed to a massive oak tree nearby. "I want you to count every leaf on that tree, without touching a single one." The devil scowled. He knew this wasn't going to be easy, but he couldn't back down. Dash dash dash. The second trick. The devil tried everything. He summoned a swarm of crows to help him count. He used magic to make the leaves glow, thinking it would make them easier to count. But no matter what he did, the number kept changing. The wind would blow, and new leaves would flutter into view, or old ones would fall to the ground. After hours of trying, the devil threw his hat on the ground in frustration. "You tricked me again, girl." he shouted. Henrietta just smiled. A deal's a deal. Now leave me alone. But the devil wasn't done. Dash dash dash. The final showdown. A month passed, and Henrietta thought she was free of the devil for good. But one stormy night, he appeared at her doorstep. This time, he wasn't smiling. Henrietta Jones, he growled, this is your last chance. If you win, I'll leave you and your family alone forever. But if you lose, your soul is mine. Henrietta didn't hesitate. What's the game? The devil pulled out a deck of cards. We'll play for 3 rounds. Best 2 out of 3. Do you have the courage to face me? Henrietta knew this was a game of wits, not luck. She agreed. Dash dash dash. The card game. The devil dealt the cards, and the game began. Henrietta played with all the skill and cunning she had, but the devil was no slouch. The first round went to him, and he grinned like a cat with a cornered mouse. One more round, and your soul is mine, he taunted. But Henrietta didn't panic. She noticed something. The devil was using a trick deck. For the second round, she let him think he was winning, but at the last moment, she flipped the game in her favor, making the score even. The final round was the most intense. Sweat dripped from Henrietta's brow as she studied the cards. Then she did something bold. She placed her cards face down and looked the devil in the eye. I fold, she said.